We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cage My IQ. This is the PFL 1 recap show brought to you by yours truly, D-Bake. As always, PFL is presented by Draftkings. You want to make your bets? Go through Draftkings. They're the big sponsor for PFL. We had a great first night for the 2021 PFL season, full of upsets on the main card. But once again, like I said before, this is Cage My IQ. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. In which Twitch and YouTube, I ask for you guys to subscribe and follow our pages, get our following up, and bring out content every single day for you guys for all 4 major MMA sports. And as always, Cage My IQ, which is the best place for MMA content. So if you guys could subscribe to all those, that'd be great. But let's get started on the first fight of the PFL debut for 2021, which was a fight between two-time champ Lance Palmer, in which he lost to a decision to Bubba Jenkins. This was a great fight in itself. Everybody knew coming in that Lance Palmer was a 2-time champ coming in, and then he was going to be the heavy favorite. But Bubba Jenkins was so confident that he was going to win because in their early days of being teenagers wrestling each other, Bubba Jenkins would always beat Lance Palmer. But then going into the media day, all Lance Palmer would say was, "That was then, this is now. I'm a 2-time champ." There's a difference between wrestling in high school and college than there is wrestling in MMA. But the Bubba Jenkins we saw in the octagon tonight was way different than we will usually see. He's the one who controlled the octagon. He was the one being the aggressor. He kept attacking Lance Palmer. There were situations where Lance Palmer had Bubba Jenkins, but this was all Bubba Jenkins in this matchup. He was controlling it. He was striking him. He was attacking him with his feet and his legs. And this was just Bubba Jenkins' night, and it wasn't Lance Palmer's night. And Bubba Jenkins pulled out the decision victory over 2-time champ Lance Palmer, which gives Bubba Jenkins 3 points and keeps Lance Palmer at 0. So this is a great start for Bubba Jenkins, knowing that he had just beat the two-time defending champion, and all he needs right now is another victory to move on, whereas Lance Palmer is going to need help. He's going to need to either get a knockout to where he gets 6 points, or he's going to need to get a decision victory to get 3 points, and then hope one other guy loses in a bad fashion where he's able to advance. This isn't the stage where you want to get a loss like that, but Bubba Jenkins pulled this out, and now he's going to go, like he said in the media day, he's going to go get his hamburgers and soda now and celebrate, because that's what he does whenever he faces Lance Palmer. Moving on to the second fight on the card, we had a decisive decision victory by Mavlid Belayoff, who defeated Lazar Stoyanovich by decision. This was a big, heavy favoritive victory by Mavlid, who just destroyed Lazar in every aspect of the matchup. He controlled the octagon. He took down Lazar at will, and then just ground and pounded him to victory. There's no way, with how heavy and how strong Mavlid was, that Lazar had any chance to get up at all in this matchup. He spent most of his time of the matchup on his back, getting pieced in and out by Belayoff, who just wailed on him at will, took his time, picked him off piece by piece and then just destroyed him. He must have tripled his striking output of what Lazar did. I think Lazar maybe had 25, 30 strikes, and then Belayoff had over 100. And then he rolled to the 30-27 decision victory decisively. He probably could have gotten 30-26. That's how bad it was. But he rolls on. He had his one of his coaches, Habib, in his corner. He's like the magician when it comes to coaching now. If he's coaching you, then more than likely you're going to get a victory because you got one of the best guys in MMA coaching you, and he's going to do what he does best and teach you what you need to do. And I think right now that he's going to be one of the heavy favorites going into the second round come June to win it all, because right now he has his big time victory, and then depending on who he faces in this, he's most likely going to move on and get a good showing in that one like he did in this one. So Belayoff picked this one off by decision and dominated. Moving on to the third matchup that we had another upset, just like in the first matchup, where we saw defending champion Nathan Schultz lose a decision victory to Polish MMA fighter Marcin Helen. I love this. Was one of my favorite matchups of the night. They kept on going back and forth, but it just seemed like Marcin Helen, who is known for being a grappler and a submission artist, who knew that he would have this combination striking aspect to his game that we didn't even know about. It came in there just landing uppercuts, combination strikes. He was just throwing it all. He had like 15 leg kicks that he did to Schultz. Schultz came on late with he had over 35 leg strikes to Held that slowed him down, but the first and second round input by Marcin Held was just too much. He wound up winning this by a 120 to I think 108 like striking / leg kick difference. But most of it was in the first and second round. And then even at the third round, when we saw Nathan Schultz come back into the round to try and steal the third round, Marcin Helen ended the third round with a nice fury that got him and kept his lead at bay. But he picks up the 2 rounds to 1 29-28 decision victory over Nathan Schultz, which sees both Lance Palmer and Nathan Schultz, the two defending champions in their weight classes, fall by decision, which puts them both at a disadvantage going into the second stage. And then, well, what a confidence boost for Held, where he didn't have to use much of his grappling to pick this up, because these two guys just slugged it out for 3 rounds. Like I said before, one of my favorite matchups of the night. And he showed that he can strike with the best of them, because that's what he did. Like, he picked apart Schultz in the first 2 rounds, and that's all it took for him to pick up the victory and then move to the second stage of the PFL season. One win and 0 losses. Now moving on to the main event of the evening, which was a big-time shocker for everybody, especially myself. We saw Clay Collard pick apart Anthony Showtime Pettis to win by decision. This is Anthony Showtime Pettis, who is known for winning championships in the WEC and in the UFC in the same weight class, the lightweight class, where he's a 10-year veteran, and he's fought the who's who in the lightweight division in both WEC and UFC, and he even has taken his part into featherweight and welterweight, but came back down to lightweight before coming to be the big time signee for the PFL. But he just seemed off today. Like, Clay Collard came in the media and said, "I'm very motivated for this matchup. We got Anthony Showtime Pettis, who's coming around walking like he owns the place, too cocky. And I'm just here coming back from being a boxer, and I'm coming in, and I predict I'm going to knock him out because of my boxing that I've added to my repertoire." Well, it sure showed in this matchup. he outstruck Anthony Pettis at all aspects of this game, except for the last minute of the third round. He knocked down Anthony Pettis 3 times with nice spot strikes from his hand. Like, he was just a better pure striker in this matchup. We saw Anthony Pettis do a couple of his flashy moves, but they worked against him. Like, he would hit Clay, but he would just shrug it off. And then because he would do those leg kicks or those tomahawk heel kicks that would make him fall to the ground, and Clay just shrug it off. He was put into the down position where he had to work his way back up, and Clay would just pick him apart here and there just with those strikes, like with the boxing that he had. It was definitely an advantage for him that he had that 3-year stint as a boxer, because he showed it in the octagon, and he was the more focused fighter. He was the one that looked like he belonged there, and he just he had 2 chances to knock out Anthony Pettis to get the 6 points, but I give it to Anthony Pettis for staying composed and not getting frantic, and he just showed enough to the ref that he was still able to defend himself from getting knocked out in the matchup. So instead of getting 6 points, Clay got 3 points, and then he himself got caught with a shot with 40 seconds left in the third round, but he was able to compose himself while Pettis fell on him, and he just held him for 30 seconds to make sure that he wasn't going to knock him out and finish him to get that upset victory in the last second, since Clay Collard dominated this matchup. So basically what happened was Clay Collard picked up the victory. I think I gave it 30-27, because even though with that shot he dominated the third round minus the last minute, but I wouldn't have been surprised if the judges gave it 29-28 him just because of the last round. But he definitely dominated. He moves on, and it's crazy to think that after night 1 of the PFL, 3 of the 4 favorites on the main card fell to the underdog. So all 3 of those guys are going to have uphill batters, like I keep saying, to advance, unless they put on a knockout, which will give them 6 points, which would be like a deal breaker with the judges. Because as you know, with the judging aspect, they're going to go for the guys that show the best showing on each fight. So unless you're 2-0 with 2 decisions going up against a guy with 1-1 and a crazy knockout, you're not going to advance with just show performances. And I think this was a great performance by Clay Collard, even though he didn't get the knockout. With him being a guy like Anthony Pettis and dominating him like he did, it's going to go a long way in the judges' eyes if he needs a tiebreaker. Say he loses his second matchup for whoever he's facing. But look out for Clay Collard, because now he has to be considered one of the favorites after that dominant performance against Anthony Showtime Pettis, which was just crazy in itself. Right, and that's the end of the main card. But before we get going, I just want to put this out that the main card of the prelim was Brandon Lomain defeating Raymond Reyes, which was a crazy knockout 2 minutes in, which saw Brandon Lomain picked up the victory. He's going to look like a pretty strong favorite in himself with that knockout. Like, Reyes is no slouch, but Brendan made him look like an amateur in that fight. Like, he took advantage. Like, he was the aggressor. He pushed Reyes against the cage and just started throwing bombs at him, and he finished him off 2 minutes into the first round, and he put that division on notice. I'm excited to see what his matchup is next, and I'm excited to see what the second round matchups are in June for these featherweights and the lightweights, because this was a really good night of action in the PFL. Am I excited to see what happens next week when we got the welterweights and the light heavyweights going at it on PFL 2 on the date of April 29th, 2021. But once again, this was the PFL 1 2021 recap show by me, D-Big, and then this is Cage by IQ, the best place for MMA content. Once again, you can follow us on our handles for Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, and then we go live on Twitch and YouTube all the time and post our content on here. So please follow us and subscribe to the YouTube and the Twitch handles, and then support the Cage My IQ, because we're here for you guys, and we want to break out all the content for you guys in case you missed the show. But I'm your host, T-Bake. This was the PFL 1 recap, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you for watching this episode of Cage My IQ on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at SportsBox Show, Twitter at SportsBox Show, Instagram at The SportsBox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.